are Ham Radio. Welcome back, everybody. It's Freddie Mac, your Ham Radio Crusader, and I'm back with another video today about, you'd have never guessed this, EchoLink. Yes, don't get me wrong, I'm an EchoLink user from way back. It wasn't for me in the long run, so I moved on. Years roll around, AllStar comes along. Hey, what's all this about? I fall in love with AllStar because it's great, it sounds great, it works great, it's highly functional, and hidden down deep inside is an EchoLink connection. You can configure your EchoLink account, be it a link or a repeater, inside your AllStar node. Don't you want to do that? Don't you want to do all modes? EchoLink, AllStar, DMR, YSF, all bridged together? Well, the EchoLink and the AllStar's not necessarily bridged together all the time, but you will have your EchoLink client, server, whatever, both, running in the background. So if someone wants to connect to you with their EchoLink account to your EchoLink account, they can. If you want to use your AllStar node to connect to someone's EchoLink account, be it a link or a repeater, you can. And this video is to help you do exactly that. So let's jump right into it, folks. EchoLink on your AllStar node, HamVoip version, right here. All right, here we are in our computer that we're going to take and enter into an SSH session into our AllStar node so that we can configure it for EchoLink. But before we do, there's some steps we've got to take. The first thing I want you to do, or I'm going to recommend that you do, is make a backup of your SD card, your image of your AllStar node that's on your SD card. You can do this in Balena Etcher, you can do it in Windows 32. There are videos on how to do that. I'm not going to cover that in this video, but I recommend it just in case something goes wrong. You still have a backup to fall back onto and you can start anew. But if you've done that already or don't wish to do that, that's on you, but we're going to move forward. Now, EchoLink requires that we forward a couple of ports in our home router firewall, and I'm just going to show you how I do it in mine. I have an off-the-shelf Linksys home router, and it's pretty straightforward for your everyday kind of guy. So normally what I do is I log into my Linksys router, I come down here to security, and I go to apps and gaming. Now, as you can see here, I'm in port range forwarding because we're going to do 3 ports. But I made 2 entries because this method has always worked for me. My current AllStar node here at home is 192.168.1.203. That is the internal IP address of my home network where my AllStar node resides. So I made it, what I did is added a port here where you can just type in a label, type in the range of ports that you want to forward. And in this case, it's 5198 and 5199. And the protocol, normally they ask for UDP for these 2, but I go ahead and put both because it covers all the bases. You can choose to put just UDP here if you wish, but you're going to put the local IP address right here of that AllStar node. In this case, we already have it in here, so we're not going to put it in again. But we've got to do a second one. I call it EchoLink 2. And it's ports 5200 to 5200. Yes, it's the same port, but this is just the way I've done it. It works for me, and I chose both protocols. Now, EchoLink's website says, for that one, you only have to do TCP. If that's the way you want to do it, by all means, do it just that way. But put the IP address in for your same AllStar node, in this case, 192.168.1.203. Hit save. We're not going to do that because they're already in there. Now, once you've saved them, this particular kind of router wants you to apply the settings as well, and we'll get a little busy screen right here if we had made any changes, but we did not. But this journey is going to be a lot easier for you if you just go ahead and forward those ports before you get started. And I'll sign out of my router and let it exit properly. If your AllStar node is already up and running, we need to log into the AllStar node through either FileZilla or WinSCP. WinSCP is built into Windows, I believe. If it's not on your version, it's really not that hard to do. But what I do is I go to search, type in WinSCP. Now in WinSCP, the file protocol default is SFTP, which is what you want. It's an SSH file transfer protocol. The host name will be the internal IP address location of your AllStar node. The port default will be 22, but you want to be sure and change that to 222. That's the default SSH port for any AllStar node. Now, if you changed that to something else, by all means, change that number and put it in here. The username and password is the username and password you would use for your SSH session. Username is always root, and you can change the password to whatever you changed it to. Once you do that, you can log in here, and it will look like this. This looks an awful lot like FileZilla, which I'm accustomed to using, but WinSCP works just as well, and I'll probably start using it from now on when I'm on a Windows machine. But normally I'm on a Mac, but today we're on my Windows 11 machine, so we'll just do it this way. Now, whenever you get logged in initially to your AllStar node through WinSCP, normally you'll get another screen. You want to hit the double dots until you get to this one so you can see Etsy. And the first thing that we're going to do is go to Etsy, double click, asterisk folder, double click, and we're going to take a look at here, and we're going to go down here to EchoLink.xxx. Now this is the empty baseline file that the HamVoip AllStar installation includes for you to configure your EchoLink section of your AllStar node. And this is, we can just right click on it, hit edit, and you can see the different information fields in here that we have to fill in. But I like to make a copy of this so that you have a baseline. So I'll slide it over to the computer and leave that there. And leave a copy here. But we need to change the suffix of this file that's in our AllStar node so that AllStar will recognize it. When AllStar sees a file that ends in CONF when it's running the EchoLink module, it's going to refer to that configuration file for what it needs to do. So we can go to we can click on it to what the editor comes open, or you can right click on it, hit rename, choose the suffix, take out the X's, put in CONF, hit enter. Now we can also make our changes here, and I'll show you how to do that. Just right click on it, hit edit, and our file comes open. And I mean, folks, it's this easy. We're going to leave conf mode equals 0. That is conference mode, which we're not using a conference mode for AllStar node for this instance. Call equals your call, which in this case would be KD5 FMU, and this is our EchoLink link, not on EchoLink repeater. So we're going to put -L, all uppercase. Now password here is your EchoLink password. I can't tell you mine. I don't want to tell you mine. I don't want to know yours. It's just the way it is. But this is where you would put your EchoLink login password. And name equals your name. QTH. For me, it's Henrietta, Oklahoma. And the email address. Maximum stations, 20. Just leave it at the default. RTCP timeout equals 10. Leave that at default. And right here is your EchoLink node number. You see node equals your EchoLink node number. And mine is 957801 for my KD5 FMU-L EchoLink link. A -L designator is considered a simplex link, a single radio that communicates over the air and through its sound fob into the internet. Yes. Now we're going to skip down here to AST node equals your AllStar node number. Now in this instance it's 576333. This is the AllStar node number of the AllStar node that you are working on. Now you can leave these server settings at the default. For some reason I changed mine initially, and I'll show those to you later, but I'll also put them down in the comments. And I believe I changed them because I thought I was having a connection problem. It turned out to be my firewall, but the ones that I put in there still worked. So we'll leave these at the default for this for this video, for the purpose of this video. Now you can change these other parameters down here if you want to, frequency, tone, latitude, longitude, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary because they're all commented out in my conf file. And when I say commented out, I mean at the beginning of the line there is a semicolon, and then there are the parameters that follow. Now AllStar looks at that and says, oh, I don't need to pay attention to that line because it starts with a semicolon. But if you want that line to be recognized, you take that semicolon out. But we're not going to worry about it for this particular instance, and we're going to leave those semicolons in. If you wanted to deny or permit, like a whitelist or a blacklist, to any other EchoLink stations, you would comment in the deny or the permit line and put those node numbers with the proper suffix behind them. Once again, we're not going to be doing that for the purposes of this video. Now, once we're done making these changes, we're going to save this file. Exit out of it and see that it's now changed in our AllStar node. And that's all we need to do right here. And then we can come to F10 and close the application, and any open sessions will be closed. I like to hit no here so that it'll enable automatic saving of the workspace. I can give it a name, 576.333. And I could create a desktop shortcut so that I can come back to it when I want to. And we're out of the SSH session. Now, instead of using WinSCP, you could have used FileZilla. I'll show you an example because to me they look a lot alike. Now, this is FileZilla, and when you connect it, it looks a lot like the WinSCP. And if you look, the first time that you connect to FileZilla or WinSCP to a node, it'll ask you about the server's host key, because at first it's like, hey, I don't know what key this is. I haven't seen this before, but you just want to click always trust this host, add this key to the cache, and hit OK. That way it's like, oh, you say it's OK? Then I'll just go ahead and connect. Double click the two double dots. That'll get you to the root, the true root. Double click Etsy, double click asterisk, and right there is that EchoLink file we just fixed a while ago. And you can right click here and edit. But Windows 11 doesn't always know where to go from FileZilla, so sometimes I'll just drag it over here and edit it. So we'll just stick with that WinSCP recommendation for now, but I wanted you to see what FileZilla looked like in case you decided to use it. Once you've made those changes in that echolink.conf file, and you're sure they're correct, you can go ahead and just reboot the node. You might be able to get away with just restarting the asterisk server, but why not just start fresh and reboot the node? It's just a minute and a half out of your life. Now I'm going to use my home node for the rest of this example because it's already logged into EchoLink, and it will not conflict with this test AllStar node that I put on the network. So we're going to access the EchoLink features on my home node because it's already logged in and I don't have more than one EchoLink login. So the first thing I'm going to do, I am going to open up PuTTY. PuTTY is a program that you can find in the comments. It's a free downloadable SSH client. You can also use another program that you can get out there for free called Termius. It is a free program that will allow you to save up to one connection. If you want the free one, if you want the paid version, it's a little more. I don't know how much it costs, but if you do multiple SSH sessions and you want to access them across different computers, you can do that. But this is what Termius looks like. I like it because it's aesthetically pleasing. Now this is what it looks like in Termius. And once you're to the EchoLink menu, you can see your local IP address right here. And the whole menu just looks a little more aesthetically pleasing than it does in PuTTY. And I'll show you what it looks like in PuTTY as well. But I want you to come down here to number 11 and run the asterisk CLI client. That's the command line interface. And this is a terminal that shows you what's going on in the background with asterisk inside your AllStar node. Let me just key up the radio and release. And it's like, oh, I need to play the courtesy tone. And it's communicating with the AllStar node. So let me connect to just another AllStar node real quick, and I'll show you an example of what's going on in there.
Node 57788 connected to node 58176.
That just connected to another AllStar node in another town. So let me disconnect it real quick.
Node 57788 disconnected.
Now, just wanted to show you what it looks like in the command line interface of asterisk. And now you can see it's received OK from EchoLink server, the North America East.echolink.org. And what it's doing is receiving different records and updates from EchoLink as it communicates with it in the background of your AllStar node. But now I want to show you what it looks like in PuTTY. So we're going to exit out of this. Oops, if we're going to type it incorrect. And then we're going to exit this SSH session. I have two of them open. And we'll open PuTTY. And let's go to our home node. Now this is where we'll put in our root. And now our password. And we're to the AllStar menu. As you can see, it's not quite as pretty as the menu as it shows up in Termius, but PuTTY's free, Termius is free. You use whatever client you want to use. So let's go down here and back to number 11. We'll look at that the asterisk command line interface. 58176 is the AllStar node that we're on. It's my home AllStar node that is already connected to EchoLink, which is why we're using it now instead of 576333. So the way it works, when you dial a EchoLink node from an AllStar node, you have to type in *3, which is AllStar's command to connect. Then if it's an EchoLink node, it has to start with a 3 and be followed by 6 digits. Now my EchoLink repeater node is 6 digits long, but what if your repeater or link node in EchoLink was only 5 digits? You would do *3, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to pad that 6th space with a 0. Let's say it's 4 digits long. You're going to do *3, 3, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just the way it is, and that's how it connects cross-platform, from AllStar to EchoLink. Now, there's another way that we can connect, and let me do a disconnect here of this so that I can show you that example. So I'm going to disconnect from EchoLink node 982594. I'm going to go *1, 3, 9, 8, 2, 5, 9, 4.
Node 3982594 disconnected.
And we're disconnected. And that was through a radio on DTMF. So let's exit from the command line interface and let's open our browser. We are on the Supermon 2 of the 58176 node. So let's log in. The screen may look a little big, but we're doing this so that you can see it better at home. Okay, we're on our AllStar Link Supermon 2 page for node 58176, and let's say we want to connect to that EchoLink station that I just mentioned. It's my repeater node in Preston, but we're going to do it via DTMF command. So we got to type in *3, then a 3, and then the node number 982594. And instead of hitting connect, we're going to hit DTMF.
Node 3982594
And I'm telling you, it's just that easy. And it shows up as the KD5FMU-R EchoLink node number 982594 at IP address 162.208.45.29. That's the outside IP address where that node resides. And if you want to disconnect from it, just come right up here, change that 3 to a 1, hit DTMF.
Node 3982594 disconnected.
And of course, sometimes your node is just going to ID because it likes to ID a lot, at least every 10 minutes, maybe 15, whichever. You know what I'm talking about. And just like that, it's just that easy. EchoLink on your AllStar node. Now, these don't stay perpetually connected, obviously, but this is an interface for you to use your AllStar node to connect to any EchoLink node. Now, guess what? This works both ways. So let's do this. Let me log out of the Supermon 2 page, and we'll just go down here where we can see things a little bit better. And we're going to go to, this is the Supermon 2 page of my repeater in Preston, Oklahoma, 57788. It is perpetually connected. Well, most of the time it's connected to my ham radio Crusader hub. It's a radioless hub in another town. 576331 is its node number. It is almost always and perpetually connected to the ham radio Crusader hub 576331. If you want to connect to the ham radio Crusader network, that's where you do it. And it is almost always perpetually connected to the KC5HWB hub in Grapevine, Texas. You can see the bubble chart here. This is my repeater in Preston, which connects to my hub, which is always connected to the Ham Radio 2.0 hub, KC5HWB in Grapevine, node number 43136. It almost always has a lot of connections, and we're a big group of folks that like to do ham radio stuff together, so come on over and join the hub. You can join my hub, you can join Jason's hub, doesn't matter, we're all here together. So this is my repeater in Preston, and I've got my EchoLink app open, and I can go up to the search list, type in KD5FMU, and you can see 3 entries. The first one is me on my iPhone using the app. The second one is the KD5FMU-L. That is my AllStar node EchoLink connection, because it's a simplex link and not a repeater. The third entry is the KD5FMU-R. That is my AllStar node in Preston, Oklahoma, on that repeater, who also has an EchoLink connection inside of it. That node number is 982594. So I'll use this app to connect to my repeater in Preston. And boom, we're in. Testing 1, 2, 3, KD5FMU. And there it is. Now we can hit end and disconnect the connection, and it goes away in our Supermon entry. So folks, it's just that easy. EchoLink is like the easiest thing in the world to do on your AllStar node. Now, if you have connection issues, check your firewall settings before you do anything else and start troubleshooting it from there. Mine didn't connect the first time over because I had firewall issues. I had an internet service provider who wasn't as warm and fuzzy with my connections as it thought it would be. But it was T-Mobile home internet, which they don't always give you a control over your home firewall. I switched back to Optimum, which used to be Suddenlink, but it's a cable TV company that provides cable internet. Seems to work good for me, but I got control of my firewall again, so I was happy camper. Everything was copacetic. So there he is, folks, EchoLink over your AllStar node. One last thing you need to remember. If you have an EchoLink link account, call sign -L, and you have a call sign -R, which was a repeater account, they're 2 separate accounts, and you cannot run both of them at the same time on an AllStar node. I don't know that you can run them both at the same time on the same interface at any time. I've always ran one at a time per location. So something to keep in mind. when you put this on your AllStar node, you can either connect just your link account or just your repeater account, but not both. Something to take into consideration. Now, wasn't that fun and informational? EchoLink on your AllStar node, be it your repeater, your EchoLink link node, simplex node at home, be it their EchoLink link node or their EchoLink repeater node, you've got the power. AllStar's a wonderful thing, and EchoLink's right there beside it, working right along together, doing two great, wonderful things. And if you want to bridge in a DMR node into your AllStar node or YSF through a DV switch server, we're going to cover all that in the coming future. We're going to make AllStar great. We're going to make AllStar greater, or at least greater for you, and give you options of what you want to do with or without AllStar. So, with that said, I want to say thank you once again to all my supporters. If you would like to, please buy me a coffee. It helps keep the channel moving forward. It helps bring you better content as I go out into the world and experience new things for amateur radio and bring it here back to you, and we all share together and make it better. Appreciate you, and I appreciate all these folks on the screen here for all the support and help that they've given me verbally, monetarily, emotionally, who knows. Everybody is in this ham radio adventure together, so let's make the best of it. All right, folks, this is Freddie Mac, your ham radio crusader, saying 73s, wishing all the good signals to be yours, and ham on, y'all.